Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Newsish Roundup. I am Ashley O'Toole.
I am Alex McCadden.
Alex and I have got two stories we're going to share with you this afternoon. What are we talking about, Alex?
We're going to talk about an interview with Mr. Wes Williams, who is running for 10th Circuit Court Judge, as well as a couple of new marijuana ballot initiatives that local cities are dabbling in.
Okay, sounds good. We're going to talk about those two stories on this week's edition of Newsish Roundup, brought to you by the sponsors. Our first story, Wes Williams, a local attorney running for judge in Oregon's 10th Circuit Court. Wes Williams, a lot of you know, is already an attorney here in La Grande, running this fall for the 10th Circuit Court judge position, running against Mona Williams. Mona was appointed by Governor Kate Brown earlier this year. Now, Wes, what do we know about Wes?
What do I know about Wes? Well, Wes is the son of a farmer and construction worker. When he ran out of work, he decided to go to college as a young man. He didn't think he was smart enough or rich enough to get through, and he decided to study history, and after that, law. He ended up working 2 jobs to put himself through college and grad school.
Working hard, and in fact, one of those jobs, eventually he became a social studies teacher and taught for 7 years before finally deciding and getting the money and going to do law school. So we'll hear from Wes about law school.
The problem with litigation work from the client's perspective, from the citizen's perspective, is it's difficult to afford. And so if you're going to do that, you need to be able to reduce your fees so you can take a case, say if a client's roof has been blown off and the insurance company won't pay to fix it. That's going to be a long and involved litigation. And the problem is a lot of people can't afford to get justice. They can't afford to go against an insurance company or a big bank or the U.S. government. Well, my dad was a builder. My grandfather was a farmer, and things happen on the farm. And we had, lightning storms where the generator quit and we couldn't get it going, and we'd lose a batch of livestock that was in the barn, in that particular case chickens, or my father wouldn't get paid for building a house or a pole barn. They couldn't afford to go to a lawyer.
Yeah.
They tried, and so those are things you remember when you're young. And so when I started practicing law, I just wanted to make sure that at least a portion of my practice would be dedicated to people seeking justice.
Now, if he gets elected as circuit court judge, Wes wants to listen and understand people because he knows what it is like to have a hard time in life.
As a judge, you've got to be able to, and I'm going to be able to, I trust, to listen carefully to people and understand what they're going through. And it's not, I think I might be better able to do that because of my background. Because we've been there. I've wondered, God, are we going to lose the farm this year? Because that hail just knocked all of our blueberries off the vine. Yeah. And it was tough. I wasn't going to say this, but just to be honest with you, it was tough paying my own way through college.
Yeah.
And I know what it's like not to know where your next paycheck's going to come from.
Yeah.
And I know what it's like to say, look, I'm going to just work this weekend, buck in hay, and get as many jobs as I can, and work during the week, so I've got more money to go to college on when it comes. So I've got the time to take off to study, to do well in class.
Yeah.
And so people have hard times, and that's just part of being a citizen. And I think if they become before a judge, it's important that that judge know and be able to empathize with them.
The full interview can be found on Facebook. If you want to know more about Wes, he said you are invited to call his office at 541-962-0896.
All right, thank you. That concludes tonight's first story, and we want to thank this sponsor.
We thought it was just La Grande looking at going green, but now multiple cities are dabbling in marijuana measures. Local activists submitted the required 1,200 signatures to the LeGrand City Recorder on July 18th in order to get a recreational marijuana measure on the ballot this fall. The Union County Clerk has until next week to verify whether all signatories are indeed registered to vote in LeGrand.
That's right, and City Recorder Angelica Brooks noted that there's actually 3 ways the City Council of LeGrand can respond to this. They can A, pass their own recreational marijuana sale ordinance by act of City Council. They could also decide to put it on the ballot this fall, as was the plan earlier this spring, it seemed. Or they can put an opposing measure on the ballot. And Angelica actually was quoted in the Observer as saying, most likely it would go on the ballot and citizens would vote on it.
Awesome. Well, the activists themselves say they're pleased with the results. One of the petitioners, David Moyle, said, "I am over the moon. Whether we succeeded or not, it's a good thing. And if we failed, we'll be back in 2 years."
Now, as Alex had mentioned, multiple municipalities are starting to fiddle with this idea. Now, the Imbler City Council has actually taken a little action on this. They have placed recreational marijuana production and processing on their ballot for this fall for the voters to decide on. Now, they can't put recreational sales on the ballot because of a state law, an ordinance there, a state law that says that recreational facilities can't be within 1,000 feet of a school, and we know Imbler's a pretty small town. All of Imbler is within 1,000 feet of a school.
Yeah, the city here seems to be concerned primarily with loss of revenue. Millions of dollars in revenue from state marijuana taxes have been given by the state to cities that permit this recreational dispensary and production operations within their city limits. Cities that ban recreational marijuana can lose out on critical funding for first responders who have to deal with emergencies related to marijuana. Mayor Mike McLean, when asked about what happens if the measure does not pass, he said, "We will lose revenue from the state."
Well, all right, that wraps up our second story of Newsish Roundup, which was brought to you by this sponsor. Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Newsish Roundup. We want to thank you, the viewers, for tuning in again yet this week. And we want to thank you to these sponsors. For helping us to continue to put on this show week after week. And a quick shout out to Mr. Will Bowman, who's somewhere far away on his honeymoon, hopefully not thinking about this whatsoever.
It's Alaska.
We miss you, Will, and we'll look forward to getting you back here. But in the meantime, I will be back for the next 2 more weeks right here beside Alex. So we want to thank you again for watching. And Alex, why don't you say goodbye to everybody?
Farewell, my darlings. It has been a wonderful evening.
All right, bye-bye.